Hey guys, we're here today with our first tag video. Now I've seen this tag going around on BookTube for a few weeks now and it looks like fun, so we decided we're gonna do it because, you know, why not?
Yay, fun.
So this tag is the Reader Problems book tag. So the creator of this tag is About to Read. I will link her original video down below. It is pretty awesome and again, really looking forward to answering these questions because everyone has reading problems.
What she said.
Yeah, we're just going to kind of jump on in. There are 11 questions, and we're both going to answer them, so yeah, here we go. Question 1. You have 20,000 books on your TBR. How in the world do you decide what to read next?
So, I read what's next based on what I'm in the mood for. Like, if I'm in a mood for a true crime book, I read a true crime. If I'm in the mood for fiction, I read fiction. If I'm in the mood for historical, I read historical. You get the picture. So, yeah, what I read next is basically depends on my mood and what I'm in, what I want to read.
That's pretty much what I do too. I have set plans and goals for like what to read and when to read it.
We all have set plans and goals, but they never go through.
I've been saying that the next books that I'm going to read is The Land of Storybooks by Chris Colfer since July 15th.
Hi, Chris.
Yeah. So that hasn't happened yet. It will happen in 2015, I promise. But yeah, basically just whatever I feel like reading is what I end up reading.
Exactly. I have a set list of what I'm going to read next, and I'm going to get through it, but it just hasn't happened yet. Like, I've been meaning to read Looking for Alaska 5 books ago, so yeah. You just have to go with the flow. Go with your mood.
However, my December TBR, I've been hitting hard, and it's only December 1st. It is already almost done. Pretty excited about that. Granted, I started my December TBR
Last week,
so yeah. Question 2.
Question 2. You're halfway through a book, and you're just not loving it. Do you quit, or are you committed?
I quit.
I'm committed. By golly, I'm going to go through with it.
I like to think that I'll stick with it. But, you know, let's face it, I have 7 books on my currently reading list for a reason. At one point I had 10, and then I decided, hey, I haven't picked this book up in a year. I should probably put it back on my TBR list, because obviously I'm not reading it. The only exception to that is Under the Dome. Under the Dome I have legitimately been reading for 4 years.
Well done. I have 2 books on my currently reading list, and yeah, I'm just not loving it. But I will get through it sooner or later. It just might not be now. I will put it away for a while and read some other books, and I will finally hit it and force myself to go through with it.
I had that influence on him. He was like dead set against, I can't read anything else until I finish this. Not anymore. So yeah, basically that kind of rolls back to question number 1. If you're not in the mood for something, you're not going to read it. Like, we've all spent so many years being forced to read books for school. It's not fun. Like, if you're not into it, you're not into it.
Exactly.
Question number 3. The end of the year is coming, and you're so close, but so far away on your Goodreads reading challenge. Do you try to catch up, and how?
If they're small books, I would try to catch up. If they're big books, you might want to just call it quits, I guess.
Yeah, both of us were both at that, you know, dilemma a few months ago. Like, oh my god, we have, you know, this many books to finish our Goodreads challenge. Okay. Denny had less than I did, and I finally caught up with him.
Yeah, finally.
But, you know, very strategically, I was like 8 books behind schedule. But very, very strategically, I picked out super small books for the reading challenge to get caught up to reach the goal that I had of 20 books for the Goodreads challenge.
Like, you even picked graphic novels.
Yeah, like including graphic novels. Graphic novels are like easy to read. I read 2 graphic novels and a 50-page book in one day. So that knocked out 3 books right there.
And it takes me 2 months to read a 400-page book.
Yeah. So if
life happens.
Life does happen. But if, you know, your goal is 20 books and you have like 7 more to go, pick small books. If your goal is like 50 and you're at book 20, there's no way you're
especially
catching up.
this stage of the game, so
like, I mean, at least I wouldn't be able to catch up. I'm not a fast reader. For those of you that can like speed read and skim through books, like, props to you. I can't do that.
Yes. Question 4. The covers of a series you love do not match. How do you cope?
You kind of have to cope. Because, I mean, you know, they don't match, they're not going to match, but it is really difficult. And, you know, for me, prime example which this isn't a series, and I understand that it isn't a series, but it's the same author, and it bugs the crap out of me, and it is the reason why I don't personally own Gone Girl, because you see, Gone Girl is nice and shiny, and it's got, you know, which apparently this is hair, which, you know, who knew that this was hair? Like, it's shiny and, you know, kind of nice, but it's glossy. It's glossy. You know, the other two Gillian Flynn books are matted, and, you know, they look kind of nice and sleek, and they just have the one little thing on it, you know, the little, you know, it's just, it's, it bugs me, because it's the same author, and if you're gonna publish all the books the same way, publish all the books the same way. Don't make two of them nice and matted, and then make Gone Girl glossy. Like, no. It just bugs me. Again, it's not a series, but it bugs me.
Feel better?
Yes.
I cope with the dilemma. I'm not as bad as her. I cope. I might be struggling inside. My heart might be broken, but I will go through with it. I will cope. Question 5.
Everyone and their mother loves a book you really don't like. Who do you bond with over shared feelings? People who also don't like the book.
You bond with the people who don't like the book as well.
I don't know. If I don't like a book, I just don't talk about it. It's
Exactly.
Just like,
If that's what all my friends are
okay.
talking about, yeah, well, good for them. I'll just be over in my little corner, okay? Question 6. You're reading a book and you are about to start crying in public. How do you deal? Well, personally, I've never cried at a book. Okay, I take that back. No, I have cried at a book. The Fault in Our Stars, that was heart-wrenching. It tore my soul apart, but I was at home, so that doesn't really count. But still, that's the only book I have ever cried at. But if I start crying in public because of a book, well, I highly doubt that would happen. So, but if it happens, so be it. If they're gonna judge me, so be it.
God,
I am.
that weirdo cry.
Well, I am what I am. Okay, I'm sorry.
See, if I know that a book is going to be sad, like if I read reviews and they're like, oh my god, this book is so emotional, I won't read it in public. Like, I refuse to read that book in public.
Don't read it in public.
But if it happens, you know, if I feel like it's getting to a part where it's going to start getting, you know, emotional and I might start crying, because I cry at books easily, depending on the situation, depending on the book. So if I feel like that's coming on, I will put it down and pick it up when I get home.
Save the tears for home.
Yeah. But if it happens, you know, it happens. I try not to blubber like a baby. But, again.
It might happen. Who knows?
Question 7. A sequel to a book that you love just came out, but you've forgotten a lot about the prior novel. Will you reread the book, skip the sequel, try to find a synopsis of the first book on Goodreads, or cry in frustration?
I would probably reread the first book, just to refresh my memory, then go to the sequel. Like I said, if it's a sequel, I'm going to have to read it because I'm just that OCD. I would probably just either reread the book or just look at a synopsis on Goodreads. Yeah, I mean, how hard is it to forget an entire book?
It depends on how long it has been since, you know, you read the first book. But, like, you know, for me, it depends on the series. Anita Blake, I won't go rereading it. Like, if I forgot something, I will Google it, because there are 23 books in that series.
I mean, refresh your memory on, like, some of the characters, some of the main points.
But for, like, I tend to find series once they're already completed, so it's not a problem for me. But if I do forget what happens in the book prior, I'll just Google it. You know, unless it was a book that I absolutely, like, it says the book that you absolutely love. Like, if it's a book that I absolutely, completely loved, and I wouldn't mind rereading it, I'll reread it. But otherwise, I'll just go and Google it.
Yeah, pretty much. Question 8. You do not want anyone, and I mean anyone, borrowing your books. How do you politely tell people no when they ask?
Most of the time I'll lie and tell them somebody else has it, and hope that they forget that they're gonna ask for it.
A liar!
See, it depends on the person, like, and it also depends on the book. Like, if Denny wants to borrow something, you know, he can borrow something, because I know he'll take care of it. If, you know, like, my little cousin has a couple of my books right now, like, I know she'll take care of them, so that's okay. But if it's a book that I absolutely loved, or if it's signed, no one is touching it. So, if the book is signed, it's not leaving the house. Like, it's not gonna happen. I won't even let it leave the house, because it's signed, and it's precious, and it's my baby. But yeah, so it depends on the person. If there is someone that wants to read a book, if it's a book that I really don't care too much about, I give them specific rules and guidelines of how to take care of my book. People look at me weird when I give them these tools and guidelines.
You're basically signing your life away in blood, so.
Pretty much. Like, you know, don't dog ear my pages. Use, you know, a paper bookmark. Nothing that's going to crinkle the pages. Don't eat or drink anything, you know, near the book that can get on the book. If it's gonna get dirty, you're not borrowing it. Like, just don't do it. Just don't.
People really don't ask to borrow my books, which I'm perfectly fine with. If someone wants to borrow one of my books, yeah, I'm okay with it, but just make sure you take care of it and it's in good condition when you return it. If it's in bad condition, you're just not borrowing any more books. Again...
You'll be lucky if we don't make you buy us a new one.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, question 9. Reading ADD. You've picked up and put down 5 books in the last month. How do you get over your reading slump? I just keep going.
Just keep going. Simple as that.
Again, my currently reading list is at 7, so...
That kind of refers back to some of the earlier questions, like...
Kind of.
If you don't like a book, do you go through with it or just stop? Just go through with it, get it done with.
Stop.
Question 10. There are so many new books coming out that you are dying to read. Dying to read. How many do you actually buy? Well, I think this is kind of why we're going on a book buying ban.
If I'm dying to read it, like, if I know that I'm going to read it soon, I will buy it. Like Amy Poehler, for example. Well, I wasn't dying to read Amy Poehler. I bought that on a whim, but I read it as soon as I bought it.
There aren't any books at the moment that I'm dying to read, but I'll still buy them.
Question 11. After you've bought the new books that you can't wait to get to, how long do they sit on your shelf before you get to them?
Years. Years. Plain and simple, years. There are so many books on my bookshelf that I've had for about 5 years now. Some in high school that I've still not gotten around to, and I really wanted to read it then.
Yeah, there are a lot of books that I've bought that I'm still like, oh, I can't wait to read this. But I haven't, because I've read other stuff. But if I'm, like, absolutely, completely dying to read it, I will read it when I buy it. Like, Amy Poehler I bought completely on a whim because I was like, oh my god, I have to read this. This sounds hilarious. I read it right then. So, it depends on the book. Most of the time, it'll sit on my shelf.
Yeah.
Again, Land of Stories has been on my shelf since July 15th.
And as a book I was dying to read. I read it right then and there.
I had other books to read.
So did I, but I still read it right then and there.
So yeah, that's all the questions for this tag. Again, we weren't really tagged by anybody.
But we wanted to do it anyway.
We're new, so we wanted to do it anyway. So we're
Like
just going to tag anybody that wants to do this video. So if you want to do the video, do the video. Like, why not? That's what we did. It was fun. Lots of fun. So yeah, so the original video from About to Read will be in the description below, along with all of our contact info, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. But yeah, links to everything in the description. Check out our blog, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. You know the drill. So until next time, we'll see you guys later.
Toodles.
Bye. Hey guys, so here fishy. My mind was going faster than my words.
We don't even get 2 sentences. Oh, God.
See?
Not even 2 sentences in.
You good? You have 20,000 books on your TBR. How in the world do you decide? How
in the world do you decide? It's glossy. It's glossy, honey. It's glossy.
A sequel of a book you love just came out, but you've forgotten a lot about the prior. A sequel to a book that you love just came out, but you've forgotten a lot about. Forgotten. A sequel to the book. Stop laughing.
Just I like that last option. Just crying frustration. Contradiction. If I had pearls, I'd clutch them. How do you get? Oh,
Clutch the Slytherin scarf, Danny. Do it again. Do it again.
What?
You that you're just dying to read.
There are so many new books that you're just dying to read.
Question 11. I don't know the sign for 11.
11.
We can both go, question 11.
Oh. Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Alright, do it one more time. Toodles.
Toodles.
Toodaloo.
Toodaloo.